Sabrina. Today I am going to show you how to make this earring, or actually a set of them of course, to match the necklace that I made in my previous video. And this is that necklace. I'll give you a nice close-up of the two. And so I decided to create an earring to match, and this is what I came up with. Let me get it nice and laid out here so you can see it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and look at our materials for this set of earrings. And we'll go from there. So for this particular project, you're going to need 8 seed beads. I need to put a few more of those out. And I am using a rose gold Toho, metallic rose gold Toho for my 8. And then you'll need 11 seed beads. I am using the Permanent Finish Starlight Gold Tone Galvanized Toho 11. So this is called Starlight in the Toho line. And then I'm using 4mm round glass pearls, and this is just an off-white ivory type color. And then I am using 4mm bicone crystals. This is a Swarovski and it's Peach AB. You will of course need 2 ear wires. I'm using a French wire for mine, gold tone. You'll need a size 10 beading needle, or of course you can use a size 12 also. I'm going to be using 8-pound nanofill. You can also use 10-pound nanofill, or 8 or 6-pound fireline. Let's go ahead and get started. Thread onto your needle a full wingspan of thread, and we'll go from there. So as with the necklace, we will make cubic right angle weave components and then put dangles from it. This is a little bit more simplified because in the necklace tutorial we had to connect the dangles and then make a cubic right angle weave section from those dangles. In this one we're just going to make the dangles and not connect anything to it, so it's going to be easier. However, it is still cubic right angle weave, so if you would like to reference my bling bangle tutorial on this channel to learn the stitch, familiarize yourself with the stitch, then try these videos with the necklace and the earrings, that would probably be a good thing, because in that video I go through step by step very clearly on how to do that, the process of cubic right angle weave. In this one I will show you the entire process, however you still may want to familiarize yourself. So let's start. We're going to pick up 4 8 seed beads onto her needle. We're going to start cubic right angle weave from these 4 8 seed beads, but we're also going to combine a pearl into our first stitch. And I'll show you what I mean. So bring these beads down to the end of your thread. You do not have to leave a long tail, just enough to hold on to. And then we're going to go through the first bead that we put on our thread and pull these into a circle like so. Now we're going to sew back through all of these beads to secure them. And be careful, you can pull your tail right through as you're pulling, which I just about did. So hold on to all 4 of your beads between your forefinger and your thumb as you go around. When you get to where your tail is, go ahead and go up through that bead. We will start our stitch through this bead to secure things a little bit better, because we're not going to tie a knot. So just hold on to your tail a little bit. This is going to be our base unit for our cubic right angle weave. We are going to combine 8 and pearls. So what we're going to do is we're going to build from this unit and then from this bead and then move into each bead in the unit as we work our way around creating a cube. So what we need to do, each unit will have 4 beads. This is our first bead. We're going to pick up 3 beads on our first stitch. We're going to pick up an 8, a pearl, and an 8. These are our 3 beads. This is our 4th bead. We're going to go into the opposite side from which our thread is exiting. and go through it. Pull these down into a circle around that bead. Now, as you can see, I have this little loop of 8 seed beads and a pearl. I'm coming out of the bead I started in. I'm going to go into the next base unit bead right here. You'll always go back into your first unit of beads to make your next stitch. And here we are going to pick up 2 beads because now we have 2 to work with. We will include this bead and this bead in our next stitch, so we only have to pick up an 8 and a pearl this time. Now you can see they're kind of linear, lying next to each other the way I'm holding them. I'm just going to go into both of them. So I'm going to go into this side arm bead of the previous unit and into the original unit. And I'm going to pull these 2 new beads down to it. You may have to pull on your tail, you may have to pull on your working thread just to keep things together. And they will not stay perfectly together until we're done with this unit. Now we're coming out of this original unit bead. We're going to go into the next original unit bead. Just be focused that the beads in the center, the 4 beads in the center, are your original unit. I think that's where most people get mixed up. They can't figure out where their original unit was. Go through that bead. Now you need to add an 8 and a pearl and then go through these 2 beads that are lying linear here. So we're going to pick up an 8 and then a pearl. Then we're going to go back through both of these beads, the bead in the previous unit and the bead in the original unit, just like so, and pull this down. And then we're going to turn and we're going to go into our next original unit bead, and it's just right here in the middle of these 3 beads laying out. So we're going to go through that one, and we're going to go ahead and go through the one straight in line with it. So we're going to use our first unit we created side bead and our original unit bead and come up through it. And pull this nice and tight as you do so. Pull your tail a little bit. And then, since we have 3 beads we're going to use, and each unit only has 4 beads, all we need now is 1 bead, and that will be our pearl, because we've got 3 of our 8 which is our original amount of beads in our units, is 3 8 You can see those. All we need is a pearl. So now these are all laying linear. I can just slide up through all 3 of them. And this, as I do it, is going to cut my piece. I'm going to pull this slowly, I'm going to pull tightly, and as I do, I'm going to cup these pearls on top of the 8 like so. I'm going to get rid of my tail. And now I am coming out of this side bead right here in my unit of right angle weave that I just created onto the cube here. I'm going to go up into the pearls now. Now the pearls are not connected, so we need to connect them together. So we're going to sew through all of the pearls. I'm coming out of this one. I'm just going to continue sewing all the way around through all of my pearls and connecting them and pulling them into a cube shape. Then on the top here, you will see that you have a little square of pearls. And that is our cube. That's our first unit of cubic right angle weave. We just happen to be using 2 different sizes of beads to create our cube. Get my tail out of there. And that's what that looks like. This is what the bottom looks like. No, we're not going to be focused on that right now. We're just going to build from these 4 beads that we just joined together. I'm going to join them just a little bit tighter by going through the 2 more beads and making sure that I have a nice tight base. Now, this is going to be the base unit I'm going to work from, these 4 beads. I'm going to build a full unit of cubic right angle weave with pearls. I'm not going to use the 8 this time, just the pearls. So from each pearl on this base unit, I will build my cube. I will start with 3 pearls. Your first stitch in cubic right angle weave as you begin to build a new cube is always 3 beads. Your 4th bead is here. Go through that bead on the opposite side your thread is coming out of. Pull your beads down. Turn your piece and go into your next base unit bead. So it will always be the bead on your previous unit here. Go through it. Your second unit, you have 2 beads that you can travel through and connect to make your next wall of your cube. So you only need to pick up 2. So your second stitch will always be 2 beads. And then you go through, as I'm holding it, if you hold it in this fashion, you can see the line that you can travel through. So in this linear fashion, I'm just going to go through both of them and then pull. And this should stand my piece up a little bit as I pull this unit down, like so. Now I'm coming out of this bottom bead here, right here. I need to go into this next bead on my base unit, and I'll tighten back up my previous unit as I pull this through. Now I have this bead and this bead to go through. So all I need to do is add 2 more beads. So your first one is 3, your second wall is 2, your third wall is 2. So that you will be adding to it. So we're going to come down from the top of this bead right here and go back down into your bottom bead, your original unit bead. You can do them both at the same time too, that's fine. Now you can see as I turn my piece and go into my next original unit bead, my base unit, I go into that and tighten everything up. You can see as it lays in order, I have 3 beads to work from. I have this one, and this one. All I need to do is add the top bead. So in my 4th stitch on the way around my cube as I'm building it, I will only need to add 1 bead. So the order of beads is 3, 2, 2, 1. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to go up through this one right here. So I can climb to the top and add my 1 bead. Pick up my 1 bead and go through the top of this one and down into the bottom bead that I'm connecting to in my original unit, my foundation unit. Pull this tight, and now you can see that that complete side is formed. You've got your 4 beads. And we're going to go, we're in the bottom bead. We have to get up to the top and connect our top beads. So we're going to go through this side bead here. Then we're going to go through the top beads. So I'm going into this top unit here, and then I have to connect these 4 beads on the top. Let me back off a little bit now. It's getting very difficult to stay in focus here, or in frame, or whatever. So let's go all the way around all 4 of these and pull them tight, like so. I'm going to sew around 2 more just to make sure that my beads are nice and tight. And then I will do 1 more unit of cubic right angle weave, but this time I'm going to do in reverse what we did on our first one. The first one we used our 8/0 seed beads and connected a pearl. Now we're going to connect to the pearl with 8/0 seed beads. So we're going to pick up 3 8/0 seed beads. We're coming out of this bead right here, this top bead. We're going to go into the opposite side of that top bead, and if I can find the hole, there we go, and pull these beads down, like so. That's what you should have. Now we're going to go into the next, we're just working out of these 4 beads here. We're going to go into the next bead that's in our previous unit that will now be our foundation, and we will pick up 2 beads. So So 3 beads in our first stitch, 2 beads in our second stitch, and then we will go through this bead in the previous stitch and this bead in the original stitch and pull it together. Then we'll go into our next base bead. Pick up 2 8/0 seed beads because this is our third stitch, so we will pick up 2. We're going to go into the last bead or the side bead of the previous stitch and the original bead we're coming out of, right there. And pull it together. And don't worry about if your beads get kind of funny looking. You can always tighten them up as you come through your last bead in your stitch. Now we're going to go into this last bead. This is our 4th stitch in our cube. So to create this wall, we have 3 beads already. All we need to do is add an 8/0 up on the top. So we will be adding 1 bead in our 4th stitch. We're coming out of this original bead, we're going to go up through the side bead in the first stitch we created, and then we're going to pick up an 8/0. We're going to go into the 8/0 from the top side in the previous stitch we just created, and then down into our original units that we started in. And that particular stitch is finished. So we're going to go to the top bead. So I'm going through the side, we're going to go into the top. This side of our cube is not joined. The top side is never joined after you make it, so we're going to join them together. All 4 beads on the top. And just sew around it a couple times so you feel like it's nice and secure. Pull your thread, and let me show you what we have. That's what we have so far. So now we need to embellish this because cubic right angle weave, especially with large beads, is really thready. So we're going to cover up our thread tracks and put a nice little sparkly crystal on there just to make it prettier. So we're coming out on this top bead here. We're going to go into the side bead, and then we're going to go, well, let's just do it one at a time. We're going to go into the side bead, and then we're going to go into the purl. This is the unit of right angle weave right here. This is the unit we're going to concentrate on and embellish, and then we'll move to the next one. So we'll do it 4 times because we have 4 complete units of right angle weave on the sides of our cube. So we're going to pick up 1 11/0 seed bead, and then we're going to pick up a crystal, and then 1 11/0 seed bead, like so. Now we are coming out of this side of this purl. We're going to find the opposite purl, and we're going to go into the opposite side from which we're coming out of in this one. So we're coming out of this side here, we're going to go into this side here, and we're going to pull this down like so. Then we're going to turn our piece and go into the next bead right next to where our thread is coming out of. So our thread is coming out of this bead here. We're going to go into this one. Get my tail out of the way, and I'm going to pull my thread through. Tighten my previous embellishment as I come through this bead. Now I'm going to pick up an 11/0, a crystal, and an 11/0, and go into the opposite bead in the opposite side of this unit of right angle weave and pull. Then I'm going to turn, go into the bead right next to where my thread is coming out of the previous bead, and pick up an 11/0. Give it a nice tug so it tightens that previous embellishment. Pick up an 11/0, a crystal, and an 11/0, and go into the opposite bead on the opposite side from which you're exiting this bead. Pull down, and then turn one more time, go into the next bead closest to where your thread's coming out, and pull. Now we will do the same thing again. 11/0, crystal, 11/0, and then go into the opposite bead just like we've been doing. Pull that down nice and tight. And this is what you should have. Now we are going to go in between each one of these units where you can see the thread joint, and we're going to cover it with an 11-0 seed bead. So we're just going to travel around our piece putting in 11-0 seed beads. And you can see this thready joint here. That's what I'm going to cover. So you need to be coming out of one of your purls on the top here. After your last stitch, you should be. Pick up an 11-0 seed bead and then just go directly into the next purl. Pull that 11-0 down, straighten it out. Sometimes they twist and then they won't lay there nice, like so. That's how you want that to lay in there. And then pick up your next one, go into the next purl. Pull that 11-0 down nicely into that thready joint and give it a nice tug so that it tightens everything up. Into the next one. And then into the next one. After you've put your 4 beads in between your 4 purls on this side of the component, we will work our way down to the other side and do the same thing. So we're coming out of this 11-0, we're going to go directly into this middle purl right here. And then we're going to go up into one of these beads so that our needle is facing sideways, and we can travel all the way around putting 11-0 seed beads in between these top beads where the thread joints are. We back off, pick up an 11-0 and go into the next purl. Pull that down in there nice because the first one always kind of fights you. And then go into the next one. Pick up an 11-0, go into the next purl. And pull it out of frame here. Sorry. And then pick up an 11-0, go into the next one. And again. Go through the last one, and you can go through that 11-0 too. It doesn't hurt anything. And pull down. I'm going to cut this tail off because it's driving me nuts, and I don't think I need it anymore. So I'm just going to cut it off. And then I'm going to just lightly burn it down without filling up my bead because I need that bead still. Alright, so now this is what we have. We need to make our dangles. So it doesn't matter which side we're going to build the dangles from now. We can go to either side, but since we're closest to this one, and we're coming out of this 11-0, we are going to go into this purl right here, the purl next to where we're coming out of. Then we're going to go up into this 8-0 right here, so we can work our way up into these top beads. So let's go ahead and go into these top beads. Now, this was the side that I started my unit in. This was my tail side. So my beads aren't quite tight enough, so I'm just going to sew around all 4 of them just to make sure on the top here that they're nice and joined together, so I have a pretty bottom unit to start in here. So there. Now I've straightened those up a little bit and tightened them up, and now I have a good foundation to start my dangles in. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up, we're coming out of one of the top beads, doesn't matter which one, it's all the same. Come out of one of these top beads in your right angle weave unit here, pick up 2 11-0s, and then pick up 6 bicone crystals onto your thread, or onto your needle, excuse me. So pick up, I have 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 2 11-0s and 6 crystals. I'm going to drop this down to my piece. And I am going to move out a little bit because I'm never going to stay in frame. Now that I have my 2 11-0s and my 6 crystals coming out of one of my beads on the top, I am going to pick up an 8-0 and an 11-0, and I'm going to drop them down. I'm going to come back around the 11-0 seed bead and into the 8-0 seed bead, and then up through all of the crystals. And just the crystals. Once you get to the 11-0s towards your piece, your component, do not go through those. Just exit the crystal and pull this down. As you're pulling this down, grab onto your seed beads at the end here and pull up on your thread. That will tighten everything together. Now, we are coming out of this 8-0 seed bead right here. We need to pick up two 11-0s and come through the opposite side. So our dangle is coming from this side. We're going to go into this side and pull everything tight. If you need to, you can pull on those bottom beads again and make sure your dangle is nice and neat. This is what this should look like. Now, you're going to move over to your next bottom bead in your cubic right angle weave right here. We're going to go into the next bottom bead just like we were doing when we were creating the weave. Now we're going to pick up two 11-0 seed beads and 6 crystals. 1, 2, you know, when I'm on camera, I never can pick up beads worth a darn. There. So we've got two 11-0s and 6 crystals, and then we're going to pick up an 8-0 and an 11-0. Two 11-0s, 6 crystals, an 8-0 and an 11-0. Drop these down, and then we're going to go around the 11-0, back into the 8-0, into all 6 crystals, and exit the top crystal. Do not go through the 11-0 seed beads. And pull. And pull this down. Then, of course, we need to bring our dangle around the other side of the 8-0 and connect it. So we're going to pick up two 11-0s, and let's get close. Then we're going to go, we're coming out of this side of the 8-0, we're going to go into this side of the 8-0. Pull those two 8-0s down, and now we have a complete dangle. Turn your piece, go into your next 8-0 seed bead, and do the same thing. Go ahead and pick up two 11-0 seed beads, 6 crystals, an 8-0 and 11-0, and make your fringe come back up and do the other side of your dangles. Do 2 more dangles when you have finished the 4th dangle, because we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you have finished that, we will be back. So as you can see, I have put all of my dangles on. I cannot speak today. And I'm coming out of this 8-0 seed bead right here after connecting my last two 11-0s and coming around to secure my dangle. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to, this is a little bit different than the necklace, I'm going to add an 11-0 seed bead between each one of these 8-0s that we made our dangles in. This is just going to give us a little bit more room, stretch things out, and make it look a little bit neater as we do this. So I'm coming out of this 8-0, I'm going to pick up an 11-0, I'm going to go into the 8-0 that my next dangle is in. So right here, like so. And I'm putting this 11-0 seed bead between the 8-0s that have the dangles on it. So get that in there, nice and neat. Then I will pick up another 11-0, and let's get you really close so you can see exactly where I'm going with this. So here's the 8-0 that this dangle is on, here's the 8-0 that this dangle is on. I'm going to put the 11-0 between them. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm going into this one, and pulling that down. Then I will pick up another 11-0 seed bead, I'm coming out of this 8-0, I'm going to go into this 8-0 right here. Then I'm going to pick up another 11-0 and go into this 8-0 right here. And the first 11-0 I put on as well, I didn't get it, but I'll go into the first 11-0 and 8-0 that I very first started to connect everything. So I have got my 11-0s all the way around. Now I'm going to take my dangles and arrange them nice and neat so that everything lays right. I'm just going to kind of give them some slack like so by tugging on them just a little bit, making sure that when I'm done, they're not going to be sticking out funny directions or doing anything weird. Just give them some thread to do what they need to do in. Now I am coming out of this 8-0 seed bead right here. I need to go up into this side 8-0 seed bead and pull. Make sure you don't pull any of your beads out of whack. So you're not going to tug on this. We're just pulling enough to pull the thread through. We're not going to tug, otherwise you'll have one of your strands sticking straight up in the air and you won't like that. Now we're going to come into this bead here. So we're coming out of this 8-0. We're going to go into the pearl that's lying sideways here. Then we're going to go up into this pearl here. So the middle pearl, give a tug here and kind of squish things together, but also make sure that your dangles don't get all strange. And then I am going to go up into this bead right here, just into one of the side pearls. Doesn't matter if you go this way or this way, just into one of the two right next to where you're coming out. And then up into this 8-0. Oops, darn it. Okay, so let's make sure that you know what just happened here. So I'm just traveling into this bead in the center and then up into one of the top beads. So you're just traveling up, following your thread path until you get into one of these top pearls. Once you get into the top pearl, then you're going to go into an 8-0 seed bead. So just travel until you get up into the 8-0s on the top. And then this is a side one. I'm going to go into the very top beads. So my 4 top beads are right here. We're going to go through those. Okay, so now we're coming out of this 8-0 seed bead in the top of our weave, our cubic right angle weave right here, and we're going to attach the ear wire. We're going to do this basically the same way we've been sewing, however it has to be modified somewhat to put on the ear wire, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to get an ear wire. Make sure that your loop in your ear wire is tightly closed. Take a pair of flat nose or chain nose pliers and tightly close your loop on your ear wire before you begin this process. Then pick up an 11-0 seed bead, an 8-0 seed bead, a crystal, and an 8-0. This is what you should have on your needle: 11-0, 8-0, crystal, 8-0. We're going to drop this down to our unit, our earring. Now, we're coming out of this side of this 8-0. We are going to back off just a little. I cannot stay in frame, sorry. We're going to go through the ear wire now. Then we're going to come back into the 8-0, the crystal, and the 8-0 on our thread here. Do not go through that 11-0 closest to the 8-0 on the earring. Right here. This is what you should have. You are now coming out of this side of this 8-0, leading up into the ear wire, coming back down through, and then picking up another 11-0 and going into the opposite side of the 8-0 you started in, right here. This forms a little triangle around the 8-0 that we're connecting to, like so. Now, I'm going to pick this up and we're going to go into the next 8-0 seed bead on the 4 top beads on the earring in the last unit of cubic right angle weave. So the 8-0's up here. Pick up an 11-0 seed bead. Now you're going to go from this side of this 8-0 directly up into the 8-0 underneath the crystal on the ear wire thing here, and then through the crystal, through the other 8-0, and through the ear wire. So let me pull through. So I'm coming through the 8/0, the crystal, and the 8/0. Now I'm going to go through the ear wire. Then I'm going to come back down through the 8/0, the crystal, the 8/0 underneath that, and then the previous bead in my previous triangle I created. So over here, so this is the one I just added. We're going to come through this one. Let me get you close. And then we're going to go pull our thread through, go back into the 8/0 we started in. Then we're going to turn to the side here, go into our next 8/0 seed bead. We're going to pick up an 11/0, go directly up into the 8/0, the crystal, and the 8/0 that connect to our ear wire. Pull that 11/0 down on top of the 8/0 we're coming out of, like so, and then go through the ear wire. Then come back down through the 8/0, the crystal, the 8/0, and then the previous 11/0. So the 11/0 on the other side of the 8/0 you're connecting to, like so. Then come through that 8/0. Now, this is our last unit. This is our last 8/0 in the top 4 of our cubic right angle weave. We're going to go into it. Now you can see we already have 2 11/0s here to connect to. So what we're going to do is pick up no beads whatsoever. We're just going to go through that 8/0. We're going to go through this 11/0, the crystal, or the 8/0, the crystal, and the 8/0, and the ear wire, like so. I hope I'm staying in frame. I have to stay close for this one just so that you can understand what I'm doing. And now we're going to go back around the ear wire into the 8/0, the crystal, and the 8/0, and then the 11/0 on the other side of the 8/0 we're attaching to. Pull this down very gently, and then go through that 8/0 seed bead again. And that's what you should have. Let me back off just a little because that's way too close. Driving me crazy. Probably driving your eyes crazy. Okay, so I'm coming out of this 8/0 right here. Now, I'm going to put an 11/0 seed bead between each of those 8/0s that we just connected to. So I'm coming out of my original unit 8/0 right here. I'm going to go into the next one, right next to where I'm coming out of, and pull an 11/0 seed bead down into there. And then I'm going to do that again. Pick up an 11/0, go into the next 8/0, and pull. You need to pick up an 11/0, go into the next 8/0, and pull. And then my last 11/0 into my last 8/0 right here. Now, I'm going to get you close one more time just so you can see what this looks like. That is the connection to the ear wire, and it's really pretty. It just looks great. It looks like a bead cap, and we like that. Yes, this is good. So now we're coming out of this 8/0. We're going to go down into this 8/0 here, and we're going to tie a knot on this thread bridge between the pearl and the 8/0. So I'm just going to try to go underneath this thread right here, and I'm going to go through the loop and tie a knot. Then I'll go into this pearl here, and then let's see, I'll go into the next pearl. You can go into this 11/0 too, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my thread off. So I'm going to grab my scissors. I actually got a new pair of scissors, guys. They're not all dull and weird. It actually cuts my thread. And now I am going to burn down this little tag I've left and tuck it in. And let's turn that back over. There's that. And there's that one. And we, my friends, have a set of dangle earrings, like little fringe earrings. Really cute. And we have a pretty necklace to go with it. If you made this, or if you're going to make it, then you can see what this little set looks like. And clean up my work area here. I think it turned out really, really cute. So, my necklace is kind of messy, but you know, that's how it is. And that's what that looks like. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.